Hey guys, we are back with our third video in the crochet tutorial series that we've been doing, and I'm super excited because today I am going to show you guys what is called the moss stitch, also known as the linen stitch, and it's one of my favorites because it is also really simple, but it's also really cute. I have used it to make hats, to make blankets, to make all kinds of things. So we are just going to get right in because by now you guys hopefully have gone through the other videos and have learned how to make your slip knot and to make your chain and to begin crocheting. So we always want to be mindful of what type of yarn we're using, what size and whatnot. We're using a medium and we are going to use, it's suggesting a 5.5 millimeter hook. I'm going to use a 5.0 and this is 100% acrylic. This right here has been one of my favorite yarns as of late, especially going into like the fall season. So I'm just going to make my slip stitch, or slip knot, excuse me. Okay, we want to make sure we leave a long enough tail to give us some room to tuck that in at the end. For this particular stitch, it's important to be mindful of how many chains you start off with. It wasn't like that in the single crochet or in the double crochet, but in this one it's important. So this one you want an odd number of stitches. So I'm gonna start off with 11 actually in this one. So I'm gonna chain 11. Okay. Now, as opposed to in the single crochet and in the double crochet, we're not going to start on this first chain. We would have done that on those other stitches, but this one we're actually going to count down 2 chains and we're going to crochet, we're going to do like a single crochet in that particular chain. Okay, now this part is really important for this stitch. After you do that, you want to chain 1. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to go from where we just crocheted at and we're going to count 2 more chains down and we're going to crochet in that chain. And then we're also going to do chain 1 once we complete that. Okay, now we're going to do that for the rest of our row. We're going to start where we just crocheted at and we're going to count 2 chains down and we're going to crochet in that chain. And we're going to chain 1. Okay, and then again, we're going from here, we're counting down 2. And this part right here is why it's really important to make sure that you start off with the correct number of chains at the beginning of this pattern, or whatever your pattern says that you're following. Always make sure you're being mindful to start off with the correct number of chains. So we're starting where we just crocheted at and we're counting 2 chains down and we're at the very end. If we had done an even number of chains, we would have had an extra one left over, and that would have made our pattern a little bit off kilter. So we're at the end of our first row, and we want to remember that at the end of every single row, we've got to do another chain. So we're going to chain 1. Okay, so we're going to turn our work now. And we are going to do the same thing going back the other way, except what we're going to do is, you see we created these little gaps in between. You can see when, see if you can see it on the camera, those little gaps right there and right there and right there. We're going to actually crochet in there in between the stitches that we just did. So we're going to stick our hook through there. Okay, and we're going to pull our yarn through and we're going to do a single crochet followed by a single chain. And we're going to do that in all of these little gaps across the entire way until we get to our very last section right there. And I'll show you what to do. So we're doing a single crochet followed by a chain, a single crochet followed by a chain. Okay, so now that we've done that in all of those little gaps that we created, when we get to the very end, we are actually going to crochet into the very last stitch itself there. We want to get both of those strands in there. Whoops, I got more than those 2 strands in there. Sometimes it can be a little bit finicky. There we go. All right, so I'm going to pull that through, finish my single crochet, and I'm going to chain 1. Okay, so then I turn my work, and you can see the pattern start to come together. So when we turn our work, we're going to take our hook and we're going to go in between these 2 stitches. The gaps on the second row might seem like they're a little bit harder to see than they were on the first row. So what I do is I just look for the stitches. There's a stitch right there, and there's a stitch right there. Those 2 little strands that kind of look like a heart, that's a stitch. And then the other stitch is right there. So I'm going in between them. Okay. Pulling that through for a single crochet followed by a single chain. Okay, so I'm going to do that across the way. I'm going in between the stitches, pulling through, single chain. Okay, all the way to the end. And we're at the very end, so we're going to crochet in that last stitch right there, both of those strands. That one was a lot easier than the last one. And we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to turn our work. And the pattern just continues. That's the entire pattern. We're going to go in between the stitches. We're going to crochet into that gap right there. This is a really nice one to do with a larger hook as well. That is usually what I do if I use this pattern for a blanket, because it will make it a more flexible type of fabric. And it, especially depending on the type of yarn that you're using, it could be like a really soft, fuzzy kind of, comforting feel to it. So there is our moss stitch, also known as the linen stitch. And I am looking forward to what you guys put in the comments whenever you guys start to practice this, all the new creations you guys might come up with. Just drop in the comments if you started to learn this pattern and you're excited about it, and just let me know what you're making with it. And you can do that in the other videos too. So I'm looking forward also to our future videos where I'm going to share with you guys how to do those projects that I've been mentioning in my previous videos. So that's it for today, and I will catch you guys later.